Welcome, everybody, to the 7th meeting of the Appropriations and Revenue Committee for the 2025 session. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell. Here. Senator Funky Frommeyer. Senator Givens. Senator Maiden.
Here.
Senator Neal. Senator Nunn.
Here.
Senator Rawlings. Senator Richardson. Senator Webb. Vice Chair Mays Bledsoe.
Here.
Chair McDaniel.
Here. Very well. We've only got 5 folks for right now, but in the interests of time, we're going to go ahead and get rolling with this testimony, and then ideally have some when we are prepared for votes. So to that end, I know Representative Roberts is here waiting. So Representative, come on up. We'll get started with House Bill 2 this morning. Please identify yourself for the record and proceed.
TJ Roberts, District 66. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of this committee. House Bill 2 is simply about vindicating a tax exemption that the Kentucky General Assembly enacted and codified in 2024. It does so by entitling those who were improperly taxed to a refund with interest, and it further creates a cause of action because as of right now, KRS 49.220 only gives jurisdiction to the Tax Board of Appeals, an executive branch agency, to hear such appeals. Ultimately, there was no line item veto in House Bill 8 because it was a revenue bill, not an appropriations bill. For those reasons, House Bill 2 is essential to undo the mistake that was made in August of last year, which led to the illegal collections of taxes against countless Kentuckians. My understanding is there is a committee substitute, and Section 3 of that committee substitute simply makes it that for counties that were designated by the president to be disaster zones in light of the tragic floods that Kentucky has faced, that their deadline for their state tax filings is November 15th, as it currently is for their federal tax filings. For those reasons, I would urge this committee to pass House Bill 2 as amended by Senate Committee Substitute 1.
Very good. And Representative Roberts did speak to the committee substitute, which is in the members' packets. At this time, I will entertain a motion on the committee sub by Senator Maiden. Second by Senator Mays Bledsoe. We will have to hold off on taking a binding vote on that until we get one more member in here this morning. But Representative, thank you for that. And I do find it a fascinating catch that you made during the course of the interim on the nature of litigation surrounding a tax appeal and where that heads exactly. So that was a good catch on your part during the interim. I appreciate that. At this point, we're going to just going to hang tight for one quick second while we're waiting on some other members to arrive from other committees. Very well. So we have a motion and a second on the committee substitute. At this time, all those in favor signify by saying aye. The ayes have it. Very well. At this time, we have a motion on House Bill 2 as amended by Senate Committee Substitute, second by Senator Boswell. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell.
Aye.
Senator Funky Frommeyer. Senator Givens. Senator Maiden. Senator Mays Bledsoe.
Aye.
Senator Neal. Senator Nunn. Senator Rawlings. Senator Richardson. Senator Webb. Chair McDaniel.
Aye. Being 6 aye votes, no nay votes, the measure passes with favorable expression. On to the floor. Representative, thanks for your good work.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, next up, we're going to take up House Bill 544, an act relating to disaster.
Senator title amendment.
Oh, that's right. Motion on title amendment. Second by Senator Mays Bledsoe. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Good catch. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
All right. Next up is House Bill 544 by Representative Jason Petrie, Chair of the House Appropriations Committee. Mr. Chairman, if you wouldn't mind, identify yourself for the record and proceed.
Jason Petrie, House District 16. We have House Bill 544, which has begun the conversation on how to address flood relief, and I understand there's a committee substitute to the bill. Is there not?
There is a committee substitute. This time the chair will entertain a motion. Senator Mays Bledsoe, do I have a second? Senator Maiden, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. The committee substitute retains the entirety of Representative Petrie's good underlying work and just simply allows the guard cap to be utilized over the course of the biennium, which in essence takes it from a $50 million cap in each fiscal year to a $100 million cap over the course of the biennium. Mr. Chairman, anything else you want to testify on that one?
I believe that's it. It's one of those things we will get to work on it as fast as we can to finalize it. Thank you.
Very good.
Motion.
Motion by Senator Mays Bledsoe, second by Senator Maiden. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell.
Aye.
Senator Funky Frommeyer. Senator Givens. Senator Maiden. Senator Mays Bledsoe.
Aye.
Senator Neal. Senator Nunn. Senator Rawlings. Senator Richardson. Senator Webb. Chair McDaniel.
Aye. Being 6 aye votes, no nay votes, the measure passes with favorable expression. Are you going to take up 552, or is Representative Bray still positive? Okay, I'll take it up. Very good. Okay, next up is House Bill. I'm sorry. Oh, Representative Bray's right there. Very good. All right, next up we have House Bill 552. This is originally sponsored by Representative Kim King, who unfortunately has experienced a pretty substantial property fire this morning. So and we're going to keep her in your thoughts. Sounds like people and animals are safe, but there is some property loss involved. So, Representative, thank you for pinch hitting on the last minute this morning.
Thank you all. Representative Josh Bray, House District 71. So the bill deals with the appointments to tourist commissions to make that a simpler process. The bill did pass out of the House on a 96-0 margin.
Very good. And there is a committee substitute. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Senator Mays Bledsoe. Do I have a second? Senator Maiden. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Very well. Senate committee substitute is adopted. So there's two aspects to this Senate committee substitute. The first is the establishment of a Kentucky-Ireland Trade Commission, allowing us to work more deliberately with Ireland on issues of mutual interest to both the Commonwealth and the Irish nation, and so we appreciate that. The second relates to licensing agreements for Kentucky marinas, particularly exempting the private contractors from the provisions of the Model Procurement Code. And that is the nature of the committee substitute. This time, do I have any questions?
Motion.
I'll entertain a motion for Senator Mays Bledsoe. Do I have a second? Second. Senator Maiden. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell.
Aye.
Senator Funky Frommeyer. Senator Givens. Senator Maiden.
Aye.
Senator Mays Bledsoe.
Aye.
Senator Neal. Senator Nunn. Senator Rawlings. Senator Richardson. Senator Webb. Chair McDaniel.
Aye. Being 7 aye votes, no nay votes, the measure passes with favorable expression. There is a title amendment. To have a motion on title amendment.
Motion.
Senator Mays Bledsoe, second by Senator Nunn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. We'll proceed. All right. Since you're here, Representative, the only one today without a committee sub, House Bill 605. If you'd like to talk about that, please.
Yes, sir. So House Bill 605 deals with the grant program. What the bill does is it specifically explains which grants qualify for the program. It also clears up a misconception to where if a water district or someone who is not specifically affiliated with the city or county. It allows the city or county to apply on their behalf, and it helps line up the receiving entities. Apparently, there had been a problem with the Economic Development Cabinet, so we wanted to clarify that, and then it just makes various other technical changes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We have a question from Senator Boswell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had a question either for Josh or for Representative Bray.
Representative or Senator, would you please pull your mic towards you a little bit? Thank you.
Yes, I had a question. I'd like to, in this program, how much funding have we leveraged so far to this date?
Let me take that. Hello, members of the committee. Rebecca Hartsoe, Babbage, co-founder for Grant Ready Kentucky. Thank you so much for hearing the bill. So as of March, just this month, what we have done is so far of the $200 million allocation, we have matched, according to CED, $103 million and change. And that has yielded right now a total project value of $469,908,000. So for every $1 of state investment, that's yielding about $4.67 in total investment. So that's a pretty good ROI right now, to say the least.
Very good.
That number's constantly changing. So just as every month rolls out, just to say that. So it'll be updated next month.
Thank you. That answers my question.
Other questions? This time, we already got a motion in a second, did we not? Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell.
Aye.
Senator Funky Fromeyer. Senator Gibbons. Senator Maiden.
Aye.
Senator Mays Bledsoe.
Aye.
Senator Neal. Senator Nunn. Senator Rawlings. Senator Richardson. Senator Webb. Chair McDaniel.
Aye, there being 7 aye votes, no nay votes, the measure does pass with favorable expression. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee.
All right, very well. Next up, we will go into House Bill 606. Representative Williams, you don't care to come up, identify yourself for the record, and then you can talk briefly about your bill, and then I'll talk about the sub.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name's Wade Williams. I'm the representative from the 4th Legislative District. We hear often about being a simple bill. I don't know how a bill could be any more simpler than this one. Last year and last session, House Bill before that, that's right, 727, we enacted legislation that allowed school districts to operate with general obligation bonds. And KRS 45812 requires that all bonds go through reporting process through the capital oversight, and this was inadvertently left off. All this does is add that to the requirement to report to the capital oversight.
We have a motion by Senator Mays, second by Senator Mays Bledsoe, but there is a committee substitute. At this time, I'll entertain a motion on the committee substitute.
So moved.
Senator Mays Bledsoe, second by Senator Nunn. All those in favor signify by saying aye. The ayes have it. Okay, very well. So I'm going to run through briefly what's in the committee substitute. If you turn to page 14, you'll note that we move the funds for a regional training center from the Center for Rural Development to the Lake Cumberland Area Development District. On page 19, the Grand Lyric Theater is progressing ahead of schedule, so rather than $750,000 in each fiscal year, we just appropriated the full $1.5 million in the current fiscal year. Page 21, if you look, there has been some concern about some water monies that were appropriated down around Hardin County and the actual flow of the monies. This just actually corrects that so that the flow actually reflects what we intended initially. On page 25, item 192, for the pathway to treatment, rehabilitation, and community reintegration, we simply strike the language for in partnership with Odyssey, Inc. On page 27, we correct what was an inadvertent last-minute issue that we created here, which is we double appropriated a particular item to LifeWorks Transition Academy. We correct that on that page, so it's just a single appropriation. And then we also clean up the routing of that later on page 34 of this bill. On page 33, there are some money that just needs to carry forward rather than lapse related to the Rural Infrastructure Improvement Program, and we clean that up there. Also on page 33, we specify that the SRO reimbursements can go to public and non-public schools, and we delete the language specifying campus employing at least one on-site for that program. And then finally on page 36, we authorize another $10 million of agency bonds to Western Kentucky University for improving their athletic facilities. At this time, we've adopted the sub. Are there any questions? Motion by Senator Mays Bledsoe. Do we have a second? Second by Senator Maiden. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell.
Aye.
Senator Funky Frommeyer. Senator Gibbons. Senator Maiden. Senator Mays Bledsoe.
Aye.
Senator Neal. Senator Nunn. Senator Rawlings. Senator Richardson. Senator Webb. Chair McDaniel.
Aye. Being 7 aye votes, no nay votes, the measure passes with favorable expression. Representative, thanks for the good work, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Oh, we do have a title amendment. This motion by Senator Mays Bledsoe. Oh, you're good. Second by Senator Richardson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Time amendment's adopted. All right, last up, we have House Bill 695. Representative Bowling. Representative, if you would please identify yourself for the record, if we could kind of get a brief summary of the excellent work that you have worked very, very hard on over about the last year or so, I think. And then we have a couple folks from the cabinet who wish to speak that I'm going to call forward, and then I'll talk about the sub. So, floor is yours, sir.
Sounds great. Adam Bowling, State Representative, 87th Legislative District. And Mr. Chairman, I appreciate y'all calling this bill before you today and for your consideration on it. As you stated, we have put a lot of work into it. It's a vitally important area in our state. About 1 out of 3 Kentuckians is on Medicaid. It affects all 120 counties, every provider, every healthcare system. It's our second largest general fund dollar unit within our state budget. About $3 billion a year of state general funds is spent through this program. Overall, it's when you include federal funds, it's our number 1 budget unit item, as y'all well know, and it's growing. So in the House, we kind of took a two-pronged approach. I'm going to speak a little bit on House Bill 9, which is Medicaid Oversight and Advisory. We're setting that up so we can get stakeholders at the table, and we see that as a mechanism to better manage Medicaid moving forward as a legislative body and as a state. Again, that is hopefully will get established, and that will be moving forward. House Bill 695 more deals with the here and now. And what we are trying to do with this bill, our goal for this bill is let's just stabilize things. When you look at the budget over the last 6-8 years, you've seen kind of continued expansion and growth and expansion and growth. And it's getting to a point where it's becoming tougher and tougher to meet those obligations. So it's something we really need to dive into, take good hard looks at as a legislative body, as an executive branch, with stakeholders at the table, just so we can make sure we're making the right decisions for this program. So again, this bill, we're trying to stabilize, no growth. Let's get Medicaid Oversight and Advisory set up so we can deal with it better moving forward. But for now, let's stabilize. Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to go through sections by sections if you would like.
I'll tell you what. Are there questions from members on anything in particular? No. Very good. Then don't worry about that. And I misspoke. I don't think there's a request from the cabinet to speak. Correct. There is. Okay. Yes. Okay. Gentlemen, come on up. And then we've got some folks from the Association of Healthcare Facilities that would like to speak after that. Then I will speak to the sub.
Eric,
Gentlemen, although we know you, please identify yourself for the record and proceed.
Eric Friedlander, Secretary of the Cabinet for Health and Family Services.
Steve Bechtel, Chief Financial Officer for the Department of Medicaid.
So this is actually going to be friendly-ish testimony, and we're in the awkward position of knowing that there's a committee sub coming forward, and actually have seen it. So if it's okay, just real briefly to really more address that, if that's okay.
Let's do this briefly then.
Okay.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion on the sub.
Motion.
By like half the committee. All right, we'll give that one to Senator Richardson and a second by Senator Maiden. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. All right. So I'll talk about the changes so that everybody hears them, Mr. Secretary, if that's okay, and then you guys can issue your marks. Fair? All right. So first of all, Section 1.5, we exempt changes to the Medicaid program that were made by requirements imposed by the Federal Centers for Medicaid and Medicare and Medicaid Services. Section 1.6 exempted any payment programs for university hospitals. Section 5, we moved the pharmaceutical rebate fund over to the Cabinet for Health and Family Services, and required monies be expended there. Section 7, add a reporting requirement on MCO contracts. 7.4, we revised some quarterly reports on demographics and eliminated some of the details. Section 9, we deleted all provisions related to coverage on psychoeducational services, and but did say that in the event there's more than a 10% increase in a 12-month period for psychoeducational substance use disorder services, that had to be reported back to the LRC. And this is where I want to take a quick pause, because in large measure, I think both the House, the Senate, and frankly the Cabinet, and I don't mean to speak directly for you, Secretary, you can address this, we're very concerned in terms of the trends we're seeing. When we started this work, and I think you and I did it together in 2015 working on this with the heroin bill, there was a real concern. And concern led to capacity, and we're very fearful that capacity has led to abuse. And I would just say this directly to those today. We pay for these services for people to be helped, not for folks to make large profits. And if you are finding yourself in the space of questioning what you're doing right now, I would argue that you probably should change. Don't make us find you, because it will not be pleasant as a whole. So that's probably the gist of a lot of the frustration that we feel today. Section 10, on renewal contracts, we limit it to 3 MCOs. Section 12, we establish a 180-day window where prior auths cannot cause someone to lose their coverage. Section 13 deals with reporting requirements and the fact that if people do not comply with the reporting requirements here, they don't necessarily have to under the current contract, but they will not be eligible for a new contract in 27 if they don't comply. We changed the development of a scorecard from the MCOs to the Cabinet for Health and Family Services, and we do have a non-codified section on reporting findings and feasibility for managed long-term services to us by the end of this year. So those are the changes that are incorporated in the sub. Mr. Secretary, maybe that makes your comments make a little more sense now.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Chairman McDaniel, and I don't mean to scare you, but we really like all the changes. So I'm sorry.
I failed.
But just really, I want to talk about risk, right? And that's all right. The limitations on some of what Medicaid can do. We know it's under scrutiny at the federal level. We don't know what changes are going to be. And the amendment loosens it up. I still risk for responding to whatever happens at the federal level. That's just risk. There's just a little increased risk, and I would feel remiss if I didn't say that to you. The pharmacy, much improved set in Medicaid. There are 2 other states, Maine and Idaho, okay, that do it in the way that's described in the bill. Again, there's just a little risk. Those are the only 2 states that do it that way. The rest of the states do it the way that we're doing it currently. It's one of those things where you just kind of hate to be an outlier, but the other states are doing it and successfully and haven't had any negative impact from CMS. So just kind of highlighting that, right? The rebid in 2027, you're not going to hear me say anything about 3 MCOs, right? Okay. When this administration came in, there was a rebid right at the change of administration. And if you all remember, there was controversy with it and all of that. The only thing I'll say to you is that was hard. And so that date for whomever's coming in, right? This isn't about me. This is about whomever's coming in. That's going to be hard. We'll be the ones that develop the RFP. We'll have it done, but that date, right, could be an administration will be an administration change. So there's a little tension there. So right. That's why I say this is friendly-ish. I just want you all to be aware that there's where the risk is in the bill. I don't feel like I'm being fair to you all if I don't identify that. Some of the demographics, race, there are a couple of others where our data is kind of challenging because people get to select other. So it's not as, we have a large other category. So some of that demographic we may need to work on a little bit. But again, we can do that. Just letting you know that right out of the box, there may be, and in the spirit of the legislation where it says let you all know if we foresee any issues. Just want to let you know. But for the most part, the demographics are stuff we already do and already have, and probably already send you all. So know that there are just a couple little pieces that may be some challenge. Other than that,
Well, I will just say one thing is Representative Bowling said he wanted to stabilize the program, but by changing the drug rebate, it's going to grow the budget because of the way you're treating it. We're not offsetting the general funds any longer. We're going to have to use it as a revenue and use restricted agency funds. So you will see the budget increase by the amount of the state funds for that restricted fund, as well as on the admin side, on our admin budget, to do the in section 10 to 3 MCOs. We have testified on that it regardless of when we do the rebid, it's going to increase our admin for getting a consultant to help us with that, as well as the MLTSS, the study. We'll have to have a contractor to help us do that study as well. So my concern is if we're stabilizing it, that's kind of contradicting a little bit, and we just wanted to bring it to y'all's attention.
and the other thing I want to say, just to be clear, we welcome transparency.
Oh, yeah.
We're happy to do that. We're happy to work with the General Assembly on that. We've worked together on some of the things that probably have increased the Medicaid budget over time, the directed payments, you all are going through 340B piece right now, but the directed payments, the provider tax pieces, all of those things are things that we've worked on together. This pharmacy piece is one that we worked on together in Senate Bill 50 really early on. So welcome that. Welcome the dialogue. Always welcome the dialogue. So again, really brief, friendly-ish, and just wanted to let you know where I see the risks, and that's really it.
Very well.
And
Okay.
I would be, if I may just say
Just 1
this
minute.
real quick, one
1
more
minute.
minute.
Yeah.
He talked about, Representative Bowling talked about the growth in Medicaid, and it has been. There has been a huge growth. We've seen from 2020 to 2025, it's grown $7 billion in total funds, but about $6.3 billion is coming from legislative directives, such as directed payments, $29 add-on fees to nursing facilities, rebasing nursing facility rates, slots, new waivers. I just implore you to make sure that when you're passing bills that you understand that could grow the budget. Just need to make that clear.
Very well. It's a point well taken.
Yeah.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you all.
Okay. Adam, Jeremy, come on up. All right, guys, if you could identify yourselves for the record, keep it to about 3 to 5 minutes and proceed.
Absolutely. Be as brief as possible. Adam Mather, President of the Kentucky Association of Healthcare Facilities.
Jeremy Bischoff, Vice President of the Kentucky Association of Healthcare Facilities.
We'll be talking about the sub as well. So obviously there is I think Section 16 talks about a study on managed care for long-term care reimbursement. So obviously, we would ask that that be removed from this sub, or at least debated. We have some concerns about that. In its current state, we are about approximately 10%, 10 to 15% of the total spend in Medicaid. We are not something that can easily be managed away. As opposed to community where you can navigate a patient's spend, where you can put them in a primary care physician's office as opposed to ED, you can't change the length of stay for our population. They are in long-term care. We can't shorten their length of stay. It is what it is, right? So, and certainly we do appreciate the rebasing. That was 14 years in the making. We hadn't had a substantive payment change in 14 years, so we do appreciate that. I've spoken to my peers across the nation when they have had this change. We recently had it in Indiana. They had a huge misstep. They have not received reimbursements in over 90 days plus. That's a huge burden to put on the facilities that are taking care of our most vulnerable in Kentucky. Also, these companies are incentivized to limit services and reduce care to maximize profitability. Anywhere you see managed care and long-term care, you never see improved quality, and you never see lowered costs based on that, right? So it's a pretty simple equation.
But you don't. This doesn't actually change.
No,
that this is a
it's
study.
a study,
so you
right?
don't even want us to take a look at it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's a waste of taxpayer dollars. I think there's plenty of examples out there to show you that it doesn't work effectively. I think you can look at Indiana.
But at the end of the day, you don't want us to study it.
I mean, you can study it, but I think it's a waste of taxpayer dollars. I mean, you can look at Indiana. They just recently did it. I think it would be hundreds of thousands of dollars to show you that they unsuccessfully did it.
Very well.
Yeah.
In an overarching with, HB 695, HB 9, we feel like that is really a great way to go forward. It allows for informed decisions, taking 21 individuals, making up the legislative, the executive, and the providers to be able to look at the issues in a meaningful way. As we sat in front of the House A&R committee, many within that group admitted that Medicaid is something that is extremely complex and not well understood. And adding this adds in some duplicative services between the two, and I understand if it's a stopgap until the HB 9 is passed and able to be established. However, it doesn't appear to have any kind of end date associated with the bill, which means that would continue to go forward with both the MOAB, the Medicaid Oversight Advisory Board, along with the General Assembly's oversight of Medicaid, which does slow down the process and doesn't allow for adaptive changes, particularly in an area that oftentimes needs to adapt and change to what the current population and the needs of our most vulnerable citizens really entail. So,
Thank you, Jim. Does anybody have any questions for healthcare facilities? No? All right, Representative Bowling, would you like one more minute here, or you want us to vote?
1 minute.
1 minute. All right, come on up, sir.
And the correct answer is vote, but I do want to thank Chairman McDaniel, Vice Chair Mays Bledsoe, Senator Richardson for your work on this. We knew when we sent it out from the House that it needed some more eyeballs on it, some more fingers on it. It was clear to me that when we met late last week, that you all had a good feel for it already, and I sincerely appreciate your work on this. Thank you, and thank you, Secretary Friedlander, as well.
And thanks to all who have been involved. As healthcare facilities stated, this is probably the single most complex and thorniest thing that we have to deal with, and it touches so many facets of life in the Commonwealth. It's not an easy issue, but it's a necessary issue. So thank you for your diligent work on it as well. We do appreciate it. At this time, we've adopted the committee substitute, so I'll entertain a motion on the bill. Senator Mays Bledsoe, do I have a second? Senator Boswell. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell. Aye. Senator Funky Fromeyer. Senator Givens. Senator Maiden.
Aye.
Senator Mays Bledsoe.
I vote and explain.
Cast your vote and explain, ma'am.
Thank you, Chairman. I'll vote aye, and I just wanted to take a moment and also talk about Representative Bowling, Representative Bray, Representative Petrie's work on this. This has been a year-long conversation. And it's just exactly that, a conversation. And it's going to probably be next year's conversation. This is not a once and done thing. My colleagues have done yeoman's work as well, and I think we do want to work together to do the following: protect the most vulnerable of our Commonwealth, and ensure Kentucky's Commonwealth is in good fiscal health. That's our goal, and I think it's going to be hard to get there, but I think our intents are good, and I appreciate the partnership and hard work, and I vote aye. Thank you.
Senator Neal. Senator Nunn. Senator Rawlings. Senator Richardson. Senator Webb. Chair McDaniel.
Aye. Being 9 aye votes, no nay votes, the measure passes with favorable expression to the floor. There is no title amendment, but at this time I think we probably have members who would like to record votes on some of these other bills. If you don't care, I'll start down here with Senator Richardson.
Aye on House Bill 2.
Very well. Senator Webb.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I vote on 2, 544, 552, 606, and 605, and I apologize, I was in court.
That's all right. Yeah, you can do them all at once. All right, very well. Okay. Senator Rawlings. Casts an aye vote on all of the measures today. Senator Funky Fromeyer.
Yes, I am. I have to pass on 695 only because I didn't hear the dialogue, and I need to talk with Representative Bowling on that. But I'm an aye on all of the other ones.
Very well. Does anyone else have business to come in front of the committee today? Seeing none, we'll stand adjourned.